There are already a myriad Model Y review videos, so why do another one? Well, because this one is going to look at it through the eyes of a long-term Model S owner. So let's dive into it. Now, before we start driving the car, I first want to talk about a few things that have improved. So the first one is, of course, the shut lines. And every single line that I saw on the Model Y is dead straight. It's still too wide in certain sections, and the gaps are still too large compared to the German competitors. But they are straight, they are qualitative, they are all on the same level. I couldn't really notice anything wrong with the lines themselves, which is a huge difference compared to my Model S, which is now 5 years old, and you can really see the difference in quality. Of course, this car coming from China also helps in the quality department, because I have heard from several other sources that the Model 3s coming from China are a lot better in fit and finish than the ones coming from Fremont. Another topic I want to talk about before diving into the actual driving of the car is the seats. The seats are quite a bit different from the Model S seats in the sense that they are smaller, and I don't think they are as comfortable as the Model S seats that I had. So the difference lies in the fact that it's different material. It's no longer a leather seat, it's vegan leather, or basically it's plastic. And I don't really like the feeling of that. It does feel a cheaper car because of it, in my opinion. But also the seating position itself. I've been driving it around for about a month already. Yeah, it's about a month since I had my car, and I still can't find a comfortable position. I still play around with the settings. I still play around with the inclination. And also the lumbar support is not saved for some reason in the profile. So that is something that you have to adjust each and every time if you have multiple drivers. For example, this was the case in my Model S where everything was saved. So I don't know why exactly this is not saved in the Model Y. Maybe it's a software glitch. I don't know. Maybe it will come later, or maybe that's just how the new seats work. But the fact that these new seats are apparently going to be the same for every single car, that has me a little bit worried for my Model S Plaid that is coming hopefully this year still, in the sense that I don't feel that comfortable after a month getting into that seat for a long drive. So, and this is going to be my main road tripping car as well, going all over Europe once more. So it has me a little bit worried, but I hope that I will find a correct seating position in the next couple of weeks. For me, it always takes quite some time to actually get to a correct position. So it's a disaster if somebody changes my profile, actually. But anyway, let's dive into the driving and how that compares to the Model S. Now, one thing I noticed almost immediately when starting to drive this car, so this is a concrete road with lots of vibrations, and even though, and I'll come back to that, the suspension is quite hard, you don't notice that there is a lot less road noise coming into this car. Now, this car is one from the previous generation with only the laminated front windows, so the back windows are not laminated. Mine will be, so that will be even more quiet, I assume, but it definitely helps against road noise. Now, yesterday I drove in the rain, where a lot of the time you can hear the road noise, the rain, the shh sound from the rain, and you driving on the road, you can hear it in my Model S coming in through the doors, and that is not happening in this car, or it's happening a lot less in this car, I should say. You can still hear it, of course, because it's not fully soundproof, but it is a lot better. Now, if you move on to the steering wheel, then I like the fact that it's smaller, because the Model S steering wheel is actually quite big, but the shape is a little bit different. It's more a bar instead of a round, and that means that I think also this centerpiece is a little bit thicker, and if I hold my hands at 9.3 where they should be, then I don't get any grip on the back of the steering wheel. So I want to wrap a little bit more around it to grab it firmly, especially if you're driving curvy roads in the mountains, for example. You want to have a good grip on your steering wheel. I don't have it at the 9.3 position, it's more the 10.2 position, which is outdated. And yeah, the 9.3 position is also safer for airbag deployments, for example. But yeah, I wish the steering wheel was a little bit more grippy in the 9.3 position. But other than that, I like the fact that it is a size smaller than the Model S. Now, even though I'm not going that quickly, going through these twisty sections, actually it's really nice, and the steering is really quick. Maybe too quick for an SUV, but the slightest movement makes a reaction in the car, so that is definitely awesome. And as you can see, because of the fact that it's an SUV, I'm sitting higher up, you have less sense of speed. For now, I still have to get used to it, but I tend to start speeding too often. But anyways, the steering is really good, and I really like that steering rack. So yeah, for me that's good. Now, I did mention the harsh ride on the Model Y already a little bit, but this is a fine example. You can see by the bobblehead in front that this is a very bumpy road also, and yeah, you really feel it, every little bump that's in there. And yeah, it's definitely not as smooth as a Model S, but that has the air suspension. This one is on the 20-inch rims, which is the hardest one. Well, you still have the 21-inch for the performance version, so that will be even harder. And to be honest, it's a little bit too harsh to ride, and nope, I wouldn't go for it in this car. But yeah, I'm getting the 19-inch, so hopefully that will cushion a little bit of this very harsh ride. As for the acceleration, no complaints there. This is the slow one in 5 seconds from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour. Now, slow is slow because it is still quite quick, and of course there's a difference with the Model S, but that was the performance version. Of course there will be a difference if you take a regular long range even with the Model S, but here I don't really miss it in this car, and I think this car, the long range, has more than enough performance for a family SUV. Now, there are a couple of things that I still want to talk to you about, which is, first of all, the rear view that you have. If I look in the rear view mirror, that window, that back window, is just so damn tiny that it becomes almost useless. It's also heavily tinted, but I would do that with my car anyway, so that's not really a problem for me. But because it's an SUV and the window is slanted and high up, you don't really see the cars coming behind you. And especially if they're sporty cars, then you don't really see them behind you at the traffic light. Of course, you have the app or the widget that shows the rear view camera, but I'm not driving with that on all the time, of course. And yeah, it's just something that I noticed, and it will take some getting used to. Another thing I need to talk about is the center screen. Everybody calls it the massive center screen, and although it is a 15-inch display, if you're coming from the Model S's 17-inch, you do notice that it is quite a bit smaller. And also it has quite large bezels, so the screen real estate is actually even smaller than that. Now, I do like the fact that it's horizontal and it's good for the whole entertainment system, but the vertical screen, I'm used to the vertical screen, and yeah, this will definitely take some getting used to as well,
especially because I still don't have an instrument cluster in front of me in the Model Y, and that is something that after 2 days of driving I still miss. For me, looking to the side, looking at this part of the display to know how fast I'm going, also with this being prominently visible and all things moving around it with the other cars and all that kind of stuff, it distracts me more than if it were in front of me. I see something moving in the corner of my eye while I'm still trying to watch the road, and it kind of distracts me. So yeah, I don't think I will ever like it like this, so I'm happy that the Model S Plaid will have that binnacle display, definitely. But it is what it is, of course. Now the second thing about the center screen is that for me, even after all those years of seeing Model 3s and now Model Ys, it still feels like an afterthought. It's like Tesla designed the car very minimalistic, which I like. I like the vents that they are hidden, they really work great, so there's no problem there. But it's like they forgot about the screen. And then at the end somebody had to say like, hey, wait a minute, we need that screen there, so what shall we do? And somebody went like, just put it there on a swivel point or on a fixed arm, something like that. And yeah, it feels like an afterthought, and I do like the integrated version of the Model S Plaid a lot better, and I hope that they bring the same to the Model 3 and the Model Y. And then finally, we need to talk about the headliner. Now first let me talk about the sun visor. Sun visor is a lot bigger than what I have in my Model S, which is good, because sometimes I'm short, so sometimes the sun visor is too short for me as well. But something that I noticed is that this is not clipped on, it's just a magnet. And it's a very strong magnet, you really have to pull it. And it's the first time that I've seen it like this. You also have a magnet with the Model X, for example, where it snaps into place towards the rear view mirror. And but it's different there. This is really, really tough to get out of that little magnet clip. Secondly, the headliner is just cloth. And I wish they would have done Alcantara there as well, just like they did on the door insert, so they can do it here. Why can't you guys do it here? Probably it's a cost-cutting thing, but still, it's a 65,000 euro car. It's not a cheap car, and this, for me, just making it cloth makes it feel cheap. And I would love to have this in Alcantara, maybe with my own car, depending on how much it will cost. I might actually do the upgrade to convert this to Alcantara, but it's not a cheap material to work with. So we'll see how much that will cost and if I will keep that car for the longer run or not. Otherwise, I will just live with it until I get my Model S delivered.
There you have it, my view as a long-term Model S owner about the Model Y. It's definitely a great car, but I'm definitely looking forward to getting back into a Model S, because that's a car that suits me a lot better. It's good for the family, it has a lot of luggage room, it is lower in seating position because I don't really like the SUV higher up seating position, for example. And for me, overall, it's just a much better car. That doesn't mean that the Model Y is a bad car, not at all. It is a really, really good car, and I'm happy to have it for now as an intermediate car. I'm still going to try to convince my wife to take over that car once I get my Model S. First of all, together on an EV, of course, but secondly, because it is such a really good car. And as said, compared to my Model S from 5 years ago, the quality is a lot better and the standards are a lot higher. And I can only assume that this will increase with the German Grundlichkeit that we will have from the cars that are coming from Berlin, of course. So as always, if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and make sure you click that little bell icon so you don't miss out on any new videos. And for now, thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one. Bye bye.